Residents of Port Maria St. Mary continue to clean up their homes, which were devastated by flood waters last Tuesday. More than 500,000 doses of Pfizer vaccines received today. JPS contractor injured in electrical accident last Wednesday has died. 8 men arrested in relation to illegal bottling of counterfeit liquor. Port Maria in St. Mary continue to clean up their homes, which were devastated by flood waters last Tuesday. While the waters have receded, many families are left to pick up the pieces of their lives not washed away during the heavy rain. Many need help and are looking to the authorities for assistance to help clear away the piles of garbage left behind. Natalie Campbell has more.
It's been a tough week for residents and business owners in Port Maria St. Mary. The days since the flood have been used to clean up as they try to get back to normality. For some, this will take much longer than others, as everything they own was destroyed during the flood. One resident recounted to IRFM News her experience, including getting home by boat last Tuesday.
Last week Tuesday was devastating. I had to reach home on a boat to get to my house. Standing in my house, the water was at my breast inside the house. On the night of the flood, I didn't sleep none at all. I went straight back to the Wednesday morning, trying to use the same dirty water inside the house to wash out the house to get rid of the mud. So we didn't have any water of such, and even with the water drought, like the next day, probably like in the midday, and we had to use the little water that we have to get rid of the mud. And the Thursday was a little bit better because we had sunshine, yes, but the mud very bad. It stink, and persons are still evil without water, like myself.
Representatives of government agencies have visited the affected communities, and residents have received care packages which include food and cleaning supplies. The loss for many is overwhelming. Several pieces of furniture thrown out by the residents tell their story.
Furniture, them where we use them, throw it on the road because them can't use back again. Mattress can't use back, settee. You know, your persons who have furniture like bag of board, them they swell up, them can't reuse. So we have to get rid of them. And the fact that even with the flooded water come with such a smell, the mattress them can't reuse. None at all. None at all the mattress them can't use back. Fridge not working. Persons fill out TV not working. My kids' books, textbook, writing book, all of them the damage. And even with the primary school right now, we don't know when the students gonna return back to school because 2 years and a half they were out of school, and to know that the school just reopened and have to close again. It's really bad, really, really bad.
She says the residents are trying to cope. She is calling for more to be done to clear the garbage and debris from the town and homes.
Well, so far, persons are still like myself trying to cope. You know, I've been doing washing from last week Wednesday until now, on and off, because the water condition. On the road, we still have a lot of mud, and the garbage on the road, people furniture and all of that on the road. You know, people from the community have to make up line on the road, you know. You know, a person still can't even go inside of the yard because the mud really high and it stink. So we really seek and want assistance from NSWMA to come through again, because the one truck with them send around a daytime that can't help to the amount of garbage and furniture where people fling out from them house.
A resident of Port Maria St. Mary. Reporting for IRFM News, I am Natalie Campbell.
Meantime, the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce is urging donor agencies to work together to ensure there is no duplication in the provision of assistance to residents. Chamber President Frederick Young says that the many residents and business owners have suffered a great loss.
We also call upon the donors and the agencies to work together as a team, which I think they are doing, to really avoid duplication of assistance and to have maybe transparency that some persons don't get twice and some don't get at all. But we're still having challenges because this is really, really a disaster. By no mean order. When you have water in the town, 3, 4 feet, 5 feet in some locations, in the main town of Port Maria, it would have affected everybody. Vehicles have been damaged. I saw a member a garage, had about 20 had cars being worked on at different levels, and they were all covered with water. It can clean up easily, but as I saw since week, a number of the stores that were reopening, they are reopening with less stock because those on the ground floor up to 4 or 5 feet would have been destroyed totally. And this would run into hundreds of millions of dollars from a simple estimation.
President of the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce, Frederick Young. In other news, Jamaica today received more than 500,000 doses of Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines. The 649,000 doses were donated by France through the COVAX facility. The shipment arrived in the island this afternoon. The Health Ministry has expressed gratitude for the donation. Meantime, the ministry says over 1.3 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in the country to date. Of the total, more than 667,000 were first doses, 546,097 were second doses, and 83,050 were single doses. Meantime, 20,930 booster shots have been given, while 2,110 additional doses have been administered to persons who are immunocompromised. The Jamaica Public Service JPS contractor who was injured in an electrical accident last Wednesday has died. JPS says Ainsley Scott passed this morning at the Kingston Public Hospital where he was being treated. Mr. Scott was employed to M&O Traders Emergency Contractors, which provides services to JPS. He sustained injuries in an accident. He succumbed to injuries sustained in an accident on February 2 as he responded to a customer issue in Trenchtown, Kingston. JPS has expressed condolences to Scott's family, loved ones and colleagues, while expressing gratitude for the bravery and selfless help of residents who came to Scott's assistance. The power company says it continues to work alongside M&O Traders to gather details of the incident. A Jamaican woman was stabbed to death in New York yesterday. She has been identified as 50-year-old Dorothy Clark Rosier. Donique Weston reports.
Reports from the NY Daily News say around 5:50 a.m., Clark Rosier was walking to work for her morning shift when she was fatally stabbed in the back less than a mile from her Brooklyn home. Her family believes she was killed by a man who had been stalking her. According to her sister, Clark had struck up a friendship with a man a few months ago, but the relationship turned volatile and controlling. The man reportedly showed up at Clark Rosier's work unannounced and sent her aggressive text messages. Though Clark Rosier didn't contact the police, her family believes the man had something to do with her death. Clark Rosier reportedly moved to the United States from Montego Bay, Jamaica in 2019. Reporting for IRFM News, I am Donique Weston.
8 men were arrested in relation to an illegal bottling operation with counterfeit liquor on Old Harbour Road in St. Catherine this morning. Reports are that between 5 and 8:30 a.m., a joint police-military team entered a premises where they uncovered the illegal operation. The team reportedly discovered hundreds of bottles, labels of popular local liquor brands, a bottling machine and several cases of raw material. 8 men who were found at the premises were taken into custody. Approximately $280,000 was also seized during the operation. The police are urging citizens to take precautions and examine the labels of packages when making purchases. The St. Andrews Central Police have charged a taxi driver in connection with a robbery in the division with the help of closed-circuit television CCTV footage. Charged with robbery with aggravation and malicious destruction of property is 29-year-old Akeem Gordon of Augusttown, St. Andrew. Gordon was charged in connection with an incident in Bogwalk, St. Catherine on Thursday, January 13. It is reported that about 11:30 a.m., Gordon and other armed men fired several shots at a man who was sitting in his motor vehicle. They also reportedly attempted to rob the man. Investigators accessed CCTV footage that implicated Gordon and other men during the probe. On Saturday, February 5, they arrested Gordon during an operation at his residence. A court date is being finalized. The old Olympic Gardens police station in St. Andrew West Central is to be transformed to provide housing solutions. Prime Minister Andrew Holness notes that the move is in keeping with the government's thrust to further boost Jamaica's housing stock. Mr. Holness, who is the Member of Parliament for the constituency, said the building, which has been situated at the Bay Farm Villas housing scheme block for over 40 years, was showing significant deterioration.
So this building, though not close to failure, is showing signs of significant deterioration. And indeed, it wasn't built for the purpose of a police station, so it was overused. What we're trying to do here is to offer another kind of solution for housing in Jamaica, and that is the rehabilitation and refurbishing of existing housing stock. This is a 7-unit block, and what we're going to do is to totally gut it, take out all the windows and all the partitions that were built, and we're going to redo the plumbing, the electricals, and all the other accessories to the building. This is going to be done through the West Central St. Andrew Trust.
The Prime Minister notes that 2 of the units are to be reserved, one for police officers who are attached to the constituency and the other to be used as a type of community centre for the housing scheme.
We will retain 1 unit to use as a kind of barracks for the police. There are many police officers who have to travel long distances, who aren't able to find places to rent close to the police station, and indeed some of them work overtime and long hours, and they will need a location where they can stay. We will keep 1 unit as well that we will use as a kind of community centre for the housing scheme, that is the Bay Farm Villa community. And the rest, we will use it to decant persons from other areas in the constituency where other housing projects are going to be built.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The Prime Minister was speaking on Friday during a tour of the former police station building. Jamaica's main bauxite company is set to start a multi-million-dollar development project. Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited will be undertaking a commercial and industrial park development project in Lidford St. Anne, its concentrated area for activities. Minister of Mining Audley Shaw made the disclosure following a tour of the company's operational sites last Friday. It will feature state-of-the-art facilities designed to accommodate business process outsourcing, BPO, manufacturing, retail shops, and much more. Mr. Shaw noted that the project is slated to commence this year and will create more jobs for the people in St. Anne and adjoining areas. He also visited a limestone mining and manufacturing site, noting the material is of high technological level as it is being processed into sand for commercial use. Mr. Shaw says that the government might look to it as an alternative going forward, as there is somewhat of a decline in the bauxite alumina business. Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited has a business enterprise mandate holding 51% equity on behalf of the government in bauxite operations.
It is really outstanding and inspiring to see that although we are still called bauxite mining, we are into other things now, and it shows the need for creativity and for diversification. And I'd like to congratulate the leadership of the Jamaica Bauxite Mining for its initiative and enterprise. And I've always been inspired by the fact that in the pursuit of excellence, one company can make a difference. And Jamaica Bauxite Mining is showing us that they can pursue excellence.
Mining Minister Mr. Audley Shaw, and we apologize for the poor quality of that audio. A 38-year-old St. Mary resident has died of injuries he received in a suspected hit-and-run accident along the Orakabessa Main Road in the parish on Saturday. He has been identified as Kenmore Green of Jacks River, Orakabessa. Reports are that about 10:45 p.m., Green was hit by a motor vehicle that did not stop. He was taken to hospital by the police but died while being treated. Investigators are appealing to the driver of the motor vehicle to turn himself themselves into the Orekabesa police immediately. Anyone who may have witnessed the incident is being encouraged to share what they know with the police by calling 876-975-3233 or 994-2223, the police 119 number or the nearest police station.